Holderfield reunion. It's Friday, July the 3rd, 1986. Here with Aunt Este and Uncle Newt. Uncle Newt, what is your full name? What's your full name?
Oh, Newt Valance.
Newt.
Newt.
Miss Newt. Aunt Este, what's your full name?
Mine's Este May.
Este May. And your maiden name was Este May Holderfield.
Right.
Uncle Newt, when were you born?
1904.
What was your birthday?
14th of July. Nobody allowed in this house.
Aunt Este, when were you born?
1905, the 14th of September.
Where was you born?
Well, I was born in Pot County. That's close to Tecumseh.
Was you born at home or was you born in a hospital?
Born at home in a little log house.
In a log house. Uncle Newt, where were you born?
Arkansas. Newton County, Arkansas.
Newton County, Arkansas. Well, how'd y'all come to meet one another?
Well, I'll turn this up a little bit.
Okay. How'd y'all come to meet one another?
Well, I really don't know. She just grabbed me, I think.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Back in that day and time, a picnic, you know, was out south of Seminole. I had never seen him. A bunch of us kids got in the back end of a truck just to have fun to ride, you know. And we didn't know him very well because he lived way out north of town. He started to get on this truck, and when he did, the driver drove up real fast and he fell out backwards, and I thought, oh my Lord, they killed that man, or boy he was. And I began wanting them to wait to get him. I didn't think about him being my husband.
Well, how old were you when y'all got married?
18. I was 18.
I was about 20.
About 20 years old?
20, I believe.
Well, let's go back a little bit before that. Uncle Newt, what was your dad's name?
George Line, George.
And your mother's
George
name?
Washington, what is
George Washington. And your mother's name?
Thenie Walker's what her name was.
Did they die in Arkansas, or did they?
No, out here.
Out in Oklahoma. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
One brother and two sisters.
Are any of your brothers and sisters still living?
One brother and one sister.
Okay. What was your brothers and sisters? Were you the oldest?
I'm the youngest.
Youngest. Okay. What was your older brothers and sisters' names?
Well, my oldest sister was named Flora, and Clara was the second, and Ben was my oldest. He's older than I am.
Okay. Aunt Este, you were the oldest of the Holderfield children, and you probably can tell us more about the Holderfields than most of your younger brothers or younger sisters can. What was your dad's full name?
Lewis Watch.
And what was Grandma Holderfield's full name?
She had a kind of a funny name, Dana Tilly-I-E.
Do you know where she got that name?
No, I sure don't, but I always thought that Tilly-I-E, she didn't ever like for us to mention it. But that was a strange name, wasn't it?
It sure was. As far as Grandpa Holderfield, can you tell us a little bit about him? Was he a big man, or was he?
No. Papa was kind of short. He wasn't very tall. And he was just a medium-sized man.
Mm-hmm. I've heard say that he was kind of like Leon. He liked to joke around.
Oh, he was a big joker. Papa was a big joker. And
well, kind of give us some ideas as to what he would do and stuff like that, how he acted. A lot of us remember Grandma Holderfield, but very few of us knew Grandpa Holderfield.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, Papa drove the school bus for years, you know. He had his own school bus. And he always got along with, he loved children. He got along with them real good. But, and, of course, he farmed. That was, back in that day and time, the only recreation that we had would go down to Little River and camp, in our wagons. And Papa would, they'd lay their crops by. They called them laid them by, plow them the last time. They wouldn't, and then, so if one of the other farmers didn't have theirs laid by or was behind, well, they'd all go and help him. And we'd get in our wagons with, what do you call them, tents over them, wagon, over
Covered wagon.
Covered wagon, and we'd go down Little River, which was a long ways. I thought then. I don't know how we all survived, but snakes, just camp out in the open, and we didn't have no tables. We'd just spread a sheet out, put our meal on the ground, and eat. And we'd go down there and stay for nearly a week after the crops was laid by. And they'd catch a lot of fish, and they'd build up a big campfire and fry them fish, and then they'd make it big that night, and they'd sit around and chew tobacco. The men would. Oh, we had a lot of fun.
Do you know when Grandpa and Grandma Holderfield were married?
No, I don't.
You don't?
That's strange. We didn't think it was very beneficial, or we didn't think we'd ever. No, not any.
As long as they were married, that was only important, I guess.
And Mama, of course, she come from Missouri, And like I said, Papa come from Arkansas. And I know where they met one time, but Mama didn't want it to be known, Mama would go to dances. She wouldn't allow us kids to go. Lord, if I slipped off one time and went, and I thought I'd committed a crime. And then she had a nephew that come, and Mama, she'd punish me, and he said, Dana, what do you mean? He said, I've seen you ride in a wagon a half of a night to go to and dance the rest of the half. And then get after her like that. Will Ricker, that was her, I don't know whether he was her uncle or cousin, but anyways, distant relative.
Okay, now Grandma Holderfield had 2 sisters, is that right?
Let's see, Aunt Amy and Aunt Mamie and Aunt Allie.
3 sisters then.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I guess that's 3.
Did she have any brothers?
Yes, but I never did know them. She had one brother to get killed. I was just real small, and he was going with a girl, and his name was Creamer. And the girl's daddy was Creamer, and he went over there and he shot him. He told me he didn't want to, and he killed him, Georgie. Now that wasn't Mama's brother. That was Mama's nephew.
Whose son was that?
Huh?
Whose son was that?
Well, it had to be Mama's sister that married Uncle Bill Smith.
Okay.
And he went over there, and of course, he shot him. And I was a pretty good-sized girl when that all happened. But, back then, they didn't tell you anything. I mean, what you found out, you had to just sit and listen. I was too busy at doing other things. I wouldn't sit and listen. I guess to know a lot of things. But
did you know any, I know Grandpa Holderfield had some brothers or sisters, didn't he? Did you ever know any of them?
No. I didn't know Papa had any brothers and sisters. He had an Uncle Simp, which lived in Arkansas, and, we didn't have no way of going. I never did see him. Like I said, Papa went back there, Papa went back there, and when he come back, he had a little tiny suitcase. And they claimed Uncle Simp was real rich, and they put that under the bed, the head of his mama's bed on the floor, and he told me not to touch it, and I was afraid to even sweep under that bed, I didn't know what was in it. I didn't.
That's when you wanted to touch it, huh?
Well,
Uncle Newt, you were telling me a while ago about, I believe it was someone that got shot during an election. That
was my mother's dad.
Your grandfather?
5 years old when that happened, and they just, I don't know what they got into it about. The Walkers and the line just got into it, and he got shot. And I was just 5 years old then. I didn't know much about it.
What about who was it that was robbed and got shot?
It's my other granddad.
Your other granddad.
Blind.
I see. Can you fill us in on the details on that? And
well,
kind of what you know about it?
that was before I was born, but I just heard my dad tell about it.
Mm-hmm.
He used to work there for my granddad, and he left and gone a year, come back, brought another guy with him, come up the door and went shooting through the door. My granddad just had one shell in a shotgun, and he shot that old boy. He used to work for him. And then they hung around there for a while, and my grandma went, started to get help, and met help coming, and so she come back where they was at and said, asked them what made them want to do that for. And so they left out, went up.
So were they trying to rob them? Is that what they're trying to do?
Robbing them. That's what this is. And but they didn't get anything. He had different where he had it when that old boy worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
And they left out, went up what they call Big Buffalo, and went in a house there.
This is in Arkansas?
Arkansas. Went in a house and taking the sheet off the bed where a woman was sleeping. Told them they wouldn't bother. They just wanted that sheet to wrap up some wound on this old boy. Well, and then they went on and got on the train at 30 mile, walked 30 miles. Got on the train at Pettigrew, Arkansas, and then he died on that train. That other got away. I don't know whether they ever caught him or not. But they didn't get any money. But he had his money hid in a different place. That's before they had any banks.
Uh-huh. Aunt Este, do you know when your father was born? Approximately the year?
No, I just don't.
Or do you know how old he was when you was born?
I'd say Papa was about, I imagine he's about 30.
30 when he was born.
Or he might not have hardly been 30, but I know.
Well, wasn't he somewhat older than Grandma
Yes.
Holyfield? He was what?
Well, I'd say he was, don't you think he was about 8 years older than Mom or somewhere like that?
Something like that, I have no idea.
So he'd have been born probably then in the late 1870s. That would have been about right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grandma Holyfield was born in, what, 1880?
I don't know.
You probably got that written down somewhere.
Well, no, I don't have the family
don't?
Bible,
You don't have?
and I don't know who has it. Don't know whether anyone does or not. Back then we didn't think it was important, things like that. I can remember, after...
Well, Grandma Holyfield was 80 when she died, is that right?
Yeah.
When she 80, and she died in 1964. She'd have been born then in 1884.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you remember what her birth date was, or as far as the month and day?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Well, it's not important. We just thought maybe that we could get some information. Where are they buried?
Maple Grove Cemetery in Seminole.
And they're buried together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did your dad die?
You mean the year?
Uh-huh.
Well, I really don't remember the year. Do you, Newt?
No, I don't believe I do.
41, 42, somewhere around there.
I did know.
We was living down, we had moved from Ada back up there by then, if you remember the year.
Yeah, but he lived a long time after
Not too long, not too awful long, because he drove the school bus, and he got sick and was sick for quite a while, before we took him to the hospital, and he was in the hospital. You mean how long it's been since when he died? Now, I'll tell you.
Just the year he died.
Well, Barbara was a tiny baby. The reason I can
She
remember
was born in 1940.
40. Well, I guess Papa must have passed away then because
About 40, probably. Something.
Because the reason why I remember Vern, that was her daddy, was in the hospital at Sulphur,
Mm-hmm.
and Vera was going to see him, down to see him, and Papa was in the hospital. And they'd left Barbara up there with a little girl, to take care of Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Papa said, back then, if you had raised a baby on a bottle, that was something,
Mm-hmm.
Papa said, he was real bad. He said, you go back up there and get that baby and bring it down, let Este, she's raised him on the bottle, and she can take care of that baby.
You're talking about Barbara?
I'm talking about Barbara. So I believe it was Leon that took Vera back up there to, I can't think of the name, up in close to Kansas line, or maybe it was in Kansas. Anyway, she went back up there and got Barbara and brought her down. And I kept her while, and then when Papa was just kept getting worse, you know. And Vern and Vera they brought him back from Sulphur and come back home. And, but anyway, I'd take Izetta, was my youngest one, see, and Barbara, and I just had 2 babies. But I'd go over to see Papa, and every day we'd go over there with him. I'd take the big Papa thought he'd say to Mama, I said, Este thinks she's doing something smart. Well, I was. I thought I'd taken care of 2 babies.
Well, do you know what caused his death or what kind of illness it was?
Yeah, Papa was really not doing very good. Like I said, he wasn't even able to finish his farming that year and gathering his crop and everything. We didn't know what was wrong. I went up there. We lived just down below, about a quarter from him. And went up there.
Quarter section?
Of a mile.
Quarter of a mile. Okay.
Anyway, anyway, Papa was real sick, just real sick. And he wouldn't go to the doctor. And I told him, I said, if you don't go to the doctor, I'm going to have him out here. And then you just had to be nearly dead if you had a doctor, you know. Well, Papa said he gave up for the doctor to come out to see him. So the old doctor, Chambers, come out to see him. And he told us that Papa, what he thought was wrong with Papa, you know. And in fact, they took him to the hospital, and that was what was wrong. He had cancer.
Cancer?
They operated on it.
Yeah,
but it was just too far gone.
Oh, yeah, it was too far gone.
You had 7 brothers, and well, there were 7 of the kids that lived to be, and you were the oldest, and then Uncle Archie was the second, and then Aunt Faye, and then there was a baby between Aunt Faye and Aunt Vera.
Right.
I don't know if it was a little boy or a little girl.
Little girl. Her name was Delta DeLoma.
Delta DeLoma. What age did she die?
She must have been, I'd say 6 months old. She wasn't very old. I can remember very well I was just small too. Papa carrying me over them steps at the cemetery and fell with me, you know. So, you know, I was small. Papa had to carry me. But anyway.
How much age difference was there in you and Archie?
18 months.
18 months, and then how much between Archie and Faye, do you know?
I don't know.
How much older was it than you and Faye?
I just can't even tell you that. Can't hardly tell you my age. I don't want to because I'm getting so old.
I can tell you your age.
What's her age?
Well, I can too. I don't care to tell my age now, but I used to. Didn't want to get old, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's great. We can do this now. You're the only one that I've found that knew the baby that had died. Was there any other children that you knew of? See, everybody else was younger.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I don't guess Vera was born, no.
No, Vera came after.
Vera came after.
I asked Aunt Vera, and she said she confirmed that there was almost sort of 2 families. There was the family of older kids and the family of the younger kids.
Well, right.
And that the older kids kind of took care of the younger kids in a lot of ways.
Yeah, a lot of ways. Of course, it's me and Archie and Faye was the 3 older ones. But this baby that died, I never did know what was wrong then. They didn't, have hospitals and they didn't take, but I can remember very well going to the funeral and Papa carrying me, so I was small.
Do you remember any information about what Grandpa Holderfield might have told you about his dad or mother?
No, Papa never did talk about his folks. In fact, like I said, his folks evidently must have died when he was small, because he had an aunt that came from Arkansas out here, and Papa just kind of lived around with kin folks, you know.
Did your mother or dad ever tell you how they come about meeting each other?
Well,
I mean, that chance meeting has led us to a pretty good sized reunion here. I was just wondering what might have.
I don't know how Mama met Papa, but Papa was, don't guess he was a mean man, but he hung around these saloons, they called them then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, when Mama and them settled up near Earlsboro, right by the railroad track, you might say, out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they had dances back. That was the only thing they had then to entertain them, you know. And I guess they met at a dance. As far as that's the only information I got, and they didn't like for us to even know that, you know.
No, I'm sure they didn't. When were you all married? When did you get married, the two of you?
What year was it? Can you?
Well, he asked you.
Yeah, you can't remember either.
I'll take an answer from either
Yeah,
one of
you can tell him. I can't remember what year.
25, wasn't it?
In 25.
Maybe it's 24 and
He was 24 and Kenneth was born in 25, so it was,
Yeah.
because Kenneth was the oldest.
December, November, December 1. This folk Christmas. That's when you
We
kept.
run off and got married. We thought we was running off. Then there was a streetcar. A bunch of them went to Shawnee. Was a long ways, you know, but that was a treat to go up to Shawnee, you know. And we was all up there. Just a whole neighborhood went.
Well, after you run off and got married and you finally had to come back home, what did Mom and Pop think about that?
Well, Mama knew it. Mama knew it that we was gonna get married, but Papa didn't. But all these Earls and a whole bunch of them went to Shawnee, and we had it made up. We was gonna get on that streetcar then from Shawnee to Tecumseh.
Mm-hmm.
And we got on that streetcar and we was gone, and the neighbors that was with us got to hunting. Well, where's Newt and Este? Where's Newt and Este? Well, finally we come back, but they didn't know it. But Mama knew where we was at all the time. She knew we was going to get married because I'd told her. I got married in a black dress.
Black dress.
Wasn't that something?
Well, where did y'all get married?
Tecumseh.
Tecumseh.
In the courthouse.
In the courthouse.
And they like to scared me to death. The guy there said, here's two kids running off from school to get married, you know, and we was running off, and I thought, man, they're going to get after us doing this.
Was y'all still in school?
I was, and I don't know if he was or not.
I think so.
Well, I
Just
tell you.
running off to get married. And then we didn't live together. We just went home like nothing ever happened.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah, we went home, but Papa, we told Papa, and Papa knew it, but Newt didn't have no place to take me. I mean, his folks, his sister was living with his folks, and
No, not then.
yes, when we got married, Jack and met us up at the road. Don't you remember when you come and got me? Claire and Lee was living with y'all. Anyway, they had a big house, and we lived with them for quite a while. Till Kenneth was a great big.
Anyway, when license come, well, my dad got them out of mail.
That's how they found it. That's how his dad.
Told my brother, said, Newt, he's in trouble now.
He didn't know what it was, though. He just got the
I
envelope.
was in trouble.
Yeah, you was as me in trouble. I'm still in trouble. Oh, gee.
Well, did y'all go to school together?
No. He went out in the country school. We went in town. He lived north of Seminole. We lived south. Then that was
And how
several.
did y'all meet again?
Well, they had a picnic south of Seminole. I never had seen him, but anyway, we was all in a pickup. And Newt, he come running, going to get on the pickup, and when he started to get on, the driver ran out from under him. He fell. He fell, and I thought, well, they've killed him, you know. I was getting hollering, you know, I had never seen him before. But that was my first time to ever meet him.
And you cabbage on to me.
Yeah, I caught you right then. I wanted to.
Of course, when you was younger, I'm sure you didn't have cars and stuff like that.
No, we didn't even think nothing about it.
Had buggies.
Just buggies. Of course, I don't guess anybody had cars. When when do y'all first remember riding in an automobile as we'd know it today? Do you have any idea?
Well, Papa, we had a car before me and Newt was married.
Is that right?
The car that we had was, they had lights where you had to put gas in them or oil in them, you know. And,
Kerosene lantern?
yeah, on that they were on the cars, you know, that was built made that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Papa bought a car like that, and I thought we was up, you know, in town, and we was, because didn't know not very many people had a car, you know.
Looking back on it now, do you think you were? I'm sure then since you lived on the farm, do you feel like you were more fortunate than others, or less fortunate, or about average, or?
Well, no. Then I thought farmers were, you know, the low class of people, and in town, the people in town thought we were rich because we had anything we wanted to eat because we raised it, you know. But I didn't think too much about it, but I did think people in town was rich, you know.
Had lots of money.
They had a lot of money.
That's the consensus I get. Vera said the same thing. She said, looking back on it now, she feels like that you were pretty well off, and you really never wanted for much. But now she's speaking for, I think, herself on down for Tommy.
Yeah.
She didn't know about, you know, back before she was born.
Yeah.
But Uncle Newt, when did you start farming on your own?
Well,